this thing going, hey? Alexys nodded, I assume. Okay. It is January 11th, 2022, first meeting of the Conservation Commission / Inland Wetland Agency for Norwalk, Connecticut. Happy New Year. Alexys, could we do a roll call, please?
Absolutely. Steve Clockey.
Here.
Ed Holowinko.
Here.
Matt Pence.
Here.
Jennifer Balliet.
Here.
And Cheryl Brown.
Here.
Okay, so we have 5 present, and so you have a quorum.
Cool. And we're going to try to keep it moving because we're going to lose people at 7 and 7:30. So is anybody online to make a public comment?
It appears that yes, we have one person with their hand raised, Miss Diane Lauricella. Really, if you could let her speak.
Please.
Good evening. I'm not sure you can see me, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know how to put my video is on, but not sure how to get it on your channel. But anyway, good evening. My name is Diane Lauricella. I wanted to wish you all Happy New Year and thank you for your service. I really thank you for placing the public participation at the beginning of your meetings. I'm hoping to let the environmental community know so that they will offer ideas and support to your commission. Many years ago, when I was in the League of Women Voters and the chair of our Environment Committee, I lobbied then Chair Karen DeStefanis to place some public participation at these meetings, and it was decided at the time to place it at the end. So I'm very happy that it is now placed in a location right at the beginning. I wanted to offer just the following very briefly, and that is on the issue of open space. I wanted to know if the list that Alexys and the staff produced of the current public open space properties and the private open space properties as set out in the charter for this commission, is that list available to the public? And going forward in the coming years, since open space is, especially in a developed town like Norwalk, will there be any kind of evaluation of which of the private properties are threatened by, these are the type of things that aren't necessarily going to happen publicly, but I wanted to see if there's a plan to evaluate threatened private properties so that then the commission can work with groups like the Land Trust to see if they can gain funds to purchase or to at least diversify. The reason I'm bringing this up is most recently Tito Court was a property that was going to be used as a land swap in order to build the South Norwalk School near Ely School. And it was not an open space. It is an industrial space. It is a polluted space. And I do believe that this commission can help our city council and others understand how to plan for acquisition of open space, because it is part of the duties of the Conservation Commission as far as having lists and keeping aware of threatened open space. I lastly just wanted to say that the Connecticut Cooperative Extension Service at UConn has some terrific open space fact sheets, including updating and planning your existing open space acquisition plan and a summary of Public Act 490, which is the open space tax law, which I know this commission has discussed. With that, I thank you very much. Thank you for your service, and I bid you good evening.
So Alexys, there's at least 1 or 2 questions in there that I think you could answer.
Yeah, sure. So the currently Norwalk does not have an open space plan. The commission back in 2005 worked on a plan, but the administration at that time did not want an open space plan. There is still a draft plan, and I think that in the near future there will be renewed push to adopt a plan. We are part of Sustainable CT, and one of the goals within that program is to adopt an open space plan, and open space planning is related to kind of other planning throughout the city that we need to do, including our resilience planning. So I do see the near future traction on an open space plan. As far as the information that you had asked about, Diane, I am working on a web page to display all that information. I have not yet finished it. If you would like to have that information, you can just email me and I can send it to you. But it will be on the city's webpage at some point. It just takes some more time. And what were the other?
Privately owned, at risk.
So that list includes both publicly owned and privately owned properties. It breaks them down into a variety of different categories. They're considered either protected or not protected, whether they're private or public. There is not necessarily kind of a threatened category, but that's certainly something that the commission could look at when they're returning to develop an actual plan.
Groovy.
And if I didn't answer any of your questions, Diane, feel free to email me with any other questions.
Thanks, Alexys. Let's move on to receipt and discussion. S21-588 Tulip Tree Lane. This is a new one, I believe.
Yes, this is a new application. Let me just share my screen real quickly. So the application is for the installation of a in-ground pool adjacent to a wetland and watercourse. And it also includes some components of the reserve septic system, which would also be within the upland review area. So this is the property here. It's off of, this is like in Chestnut Hill Road, sorry. Chestnut Hill Road, right over here you have Wilton. And this is the Cranberry Park is the large parcel to the left. And there's a watercourse system here, which is Stony Brook, that is a tributary to the Saugatuck River. Stony Brook runs through the western part of the property. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So this is a 2019 aerial of the property. It's a little bit grainy. Should load a little bit better, but it's a fairly wooded lot. It does have a small yard in the back, and that is where the proposed pool would be located. And so, again, here's Tulip Tree Lane. In the back is all wetlands and watercourse. The green line is the wetlands, which were recently field delineated by Ms. Alexander Mock. And you have your 100-foot upland review area from the watercourse is the widest upland review area. So the proposed pool is entirely within that upland review area. Additionally, you have the upland review area of the wetland, which kind of cuts through the pool. The pool is here. So the existing house, driveway, and then small rear yard area. The pool would be installed adjacent to an existing deck and is detail. Switch to close-up view. There's an existing stone wall that separates the wetland and watercourse area, at least on the western side of the property, from the area where the proposed pool would be. And then the wetland line on this map is just off this detail. So right up here where the cursor is. Approximately, I think 20, 25 feet from the wetland line. And then additionally in the front of the property, so again, here's the proposed pool. This is the wetland line here. And in the front of the property would be some upgrades to the system. They're required to do a V100A, which is a reserve system. Whenever you are on an existing septic system and you are taking space away, which may be the last space that a new replacement system could fit, the health department requires that you do a reserve system to show where a system would be and that you don't need this area for that system. And so that would be tank, pump, and fields here. And the tank and pump, if that were to go in, would be within the upland review area. So that's pretty much the extent of the activities. They've proposed a sedimentation erosion control silt fence around the perimeter of the work. They'll be clustering the pool equipment close to the pool, and that's about it. The applicant is here, I believe.
Yes, I'm here. How's everyone doing? I'm Michael.
Hello.
I can stop sharing my screen unless you need it.
Could you leave it up, please, Alexis?
Yep.
And I can't quite tell, is there any proposed changes to grading? To grade?
So a little tiny bit. It is very difficult to tell. It's very minor. So this is the my cursor going. This is the existing 150-foot contour line here, and then it's proposed to be no, I guess this line is the 150, and then likewise this is 150 and then down to 149. So there'll be a slight leveling of the area immediately around the pool and between the existing shed and the pool, but relatively minimal grading.
And then surface water changes how? What was there where the pool is going? Was it permeable or hardscaped?
I believe it's lawn. Homeowner, if you could just describe what this area currently looks like.
It's just grass.
And the proposed surface treatment is concrete or hard pavers, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a slight change to how surface water will behave, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, a lot of the grass will remain, and it'll just probably be pavers around just the perimeter of the pool.
Noted. Thank you.
Where is the pool code fence going?
The fence, I believe it's indicated right there. It basically starts at the driveway near the end of the house and then encapsulates the entire pool.
It's fairly close to the pool, and then it would come around to the existing deck, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's this, the line with the X in it.
That's right.
Does any other commissioners have a question about the proposed project?
It sounds like no tree removal or anything. It's just a lawn area there, right?
That's correct.
Right.
And
Pretty
luckily
straight.
the lawn is at the very end of the driveway right there, so it's really easy to access.
Okay. Well, if nobody has additional questions, we'll just receive it, which is the point of today's meeting, and then, well, receipt and discussion, right? So we can't decide on anything tonight. If nobody sees a reason to ask for more information, I guess there's not much else to tell the homeowner, but if you would need to see something more in order to approve this in 2 weeks, speak up now. Okay,
All right. I
Let's
will
move on.
draft a resolution for your next meeting.
thank
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Thanks, you
You
too.
too. All right, so moving on to discussion and or decision, S21-582, 51.5 North Bridge Street. I think we have a new site plan.
Yes.
And then there's a conditions document that was distributed via email yesterday afternoon
right. So,
with a resolution, a draft resolution for approval, right?
yes. Do a little clicking. I'll share my screen again. Okay. So, excuse me. This is the referenced landscape and site plan. Excuse me, I believe it's based off of the survey that you saw at your last meeting by the survey to Stelius, which again kind of clarifies the extent of the property itself. Sorry for the stickies that pop up. The proposed house is shaded in gray. The little ovals are the proposed location of a low retaining wall that would set up a wetland buffer that at its minimum, which is this area here, is 16 feet wide. And the landscape plan just tries to clarify some of the questions that you had at your last meeting. It locates the area of fill that is proposed from the excavation, that its areas of fill would be on this side of the proposed retaining wall. The wall would be closer to 2 feet in height in the southern portion of the lot, and then raised to close to 3.5 feet in height in the northern portion. A fence would be installed on top of it. The landscape plan also shows the kind of a schematic of the proposed stormwater runoff system. And so it has roof leaders being collected into these rainwater tanks and then diverted underground to a gallery system, one for the back part of the house, and then some yard drains that would also discharge to a second underground gallery system in this location here. I believe that the applicant has said that no trees would be removed within the wetland or within the proposed buffer. And I believe the applicant is here tonight. Yes, if you want to add anything, or commissioners, if you have any additional questions. Like Commissioner Clockey had mentioned, I had prepared a second staff report that includes a draft resolution for approval with a variety of conditions that is similar to the memo and draft report that you had received at the previous meeting in December.
Alexis, are we to understand that the stormwater runoff design is to be approved by zoning or some other department?
Right, it needs to be approved by the Public Works Department
Public
for
Works.
compliance with the city's drainage standards.
Okay.
And yes, Mr. Felix. I think you're muted, though.
Oh, sorry about that. And good night. Actually, yeah, with the Public Works guys, I went into the office. I met with a few of them. I run it by them in terms of the drainage system and the stormwater. According to them, it's a great plan and it should work. So before I actually submitted that to you.
Okay, do any commissioners have questions about either what we're looking at on the screen or Alexis's draft resolution?
No, the plan looks great. Thank you for getting us this. It's came a long way from the sketch.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Okay, well, I would, if no one else wants to, I would move to adopt the memorandum dated January 6, 2022 for S21-582 as written, although I will, once I get a second, want to discuss it. But does anybody want to second that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, and now discussion, we could add a number 9 that says no trees are to be removed within the wetland or upland review area. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Ed kind of nodded. Maybe it was a side nod. Was it these nods or these or these? No. Does anybody care?
Go for it.
Go for it.
Add a number 9.
All right.
I have a question about the resolution. If there's a change in the stormwater plan for the city, does our last, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm getting feedback here, but
Right.
does number 8 cover us that we will definitely see this plan again in front of us?
Probably. So there's when either construction starts or when another department is reviewing the plans, if there is a change of significance or even intermediate significance, it would return to you. Very, very small tweaks. For example, the size of the underground galleries, I suspect that those may change in size once they're correctly dimensioned and engineered. The calculations have been done for the area of runoff and for the population rate of the material there. Those may be a different shape a little bit, but as long as they're in that same area, it would not return to you. But certainly if Public Works were to say that as it's laid out is no good and that a redesign was in order, it would absolutely return to you.
Okay, thank you.
Ed, were you trying to say something? You're muted.
Yeah, I thought the number 9 addition about not chopping down trees would be a good idea to put in there.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else have additional discussion? Okay, so Alexis, do I have to remove or just can we add that number 9 to my original motion?
You can remove real quick.
Okay, so I move to adopt the resolution as drafted with the exception of the addition of number 9. No trees are to be removed within the wetland or the upland review area. You have a second?
I'll second.
Jen seconded. Can we get a vote? Everybody verbal? Aye?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any nays or abstentions?
Aye.
Wait, what was that? Who said? Somebody said no abstentions or nays? Okay, so I think that was unanimous, right, Alexis?
It appeared that way, yes.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Felix.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks.
Okay, moving right along, S21-587, 1 Manresa Island Avenue.
Yep, so there's no one, I believe, on, this is scheduled for a public hearing at your next meeting on January 25th. So no new information. I did send you an email earlier today with some additional information that had been discussed and requested at your previous meeting in December regarding the extent of all inland wetlands and tidal wetlands on the property. So they provided I think it was a 2007 assessment of the wetlands, and it also clarifies that there is an additional inland wetland, and it includes a map that shows the extent of that wetland. They are not proposing to do any work within that wetland at all. And then it shows the 2 wetlands that you are considering for activity as well. So, but other than that, the public hearing will be held at the next meeting, which is the 25th.
Groovy. Anybody have any thoughts or questions on that? Okay. Moving on then to bond release / reduction request SO2102, 24 East Walks Road, Guerra. Tried to roll my R there. I don't know if anybody caught it.
What's that?
Nothing.
So this is a 2002 permit. It was a corrective action application for some landscaping and expansion of lawn areas in and adjacent to wetlands and watercourses. And Ms. Williams did recently do an inspection. She did notice that some of the, a bit of the buffer is still being mowed and maintained as lawn. But what is really has held up the release of the bond, and the property owner has requested bond release previously. And the bond amount is $2,000. It's not a huge bond, but big enough. Is special condition number 5 of the permit, which requires that the applicant have prepared an as-built survey of the property showing the wetlands, watercourses, the stone retaining wall, and the driveway that was expanded, with a note referring to the permit and explaining that the stone wall is basically the designated buffer, and that the areas adjacent to the pond remain in their natural state. Economically, the property owner has no interest in hiring a surveyor who he feels that work would exceed the $2,000 bond. And so he and I met, and I let him know that it is a condition of the permit, but at the end of the day, it is your permit. And so it's up to you. So he is requesting full release of the $2,000 bond.
Is there any way we can achieve the same result as the survey without actually having a survey done?
Yeah, possibly. So I will talk, if you, pardon me, if you elect not to release the bond, then I would talk to Corporation Counsel about what our next steps are. I would say that we could definitely, with some additional action from you, file something on the land records that is kind of a notice of the permit. So if you are interested in that, I would do that.
Well, if it doesn't make a ton of extra work for you, that seems cool to me. I don't know about what others think. It's been sitting there for 19 years, so I don't know that a few weeks or months would matter.
Right. I mean, obviously, it has not been on the top of my priorities. There had been a time when the planting plan was installed, but again, it's kind of that continued maintenance as a non-natural area, and then this filing of the map, which I believe it stems from the original 1998 permit to construct the house. There was a requirement to file something on the land records, and that was never done, and that permit was closed out before I started with the city.
So there was no survey of the wetlands currently on this property, and that was one of the conditions?
There is no survey, correct? There's a site plan. So the property owner hired an environmental consultant to produce a site plan. And that was based on a 1998 survey. So the 1998 survey was done as part of the house permit. But that survey, what this condition is saying is that the survey would need to be updated to show the actual configuration of the driveway, which was moved without a permit closer to the wetland and pond, and to add some notes regarding the landscaping between the retaining wall that was installed and the wetland and pond. And so it's those amendments to that existing survey that the permittee is not interested in investing in. So there is all that, there is information. It's just a matter of how to legally get it noted on the land records, if that's the direction you want to go.
I'm confused. So what is this? What permit is this tied to?
So it's tied to this SO2 102, which was a corrective action permit filed in 2002.
So what happens if the bond is not released and you're not able to get any work done?
I think I would ask the law department for their advice, but there is a process for you. If you don't release the bond tonight, there is a process for you to claim the bond in order to affect the conditions and terms of the permit that were not met. That has its own process where you have to give notice to the permittee that you're considering calling the bond, basically.
And so do we use that money to hire somebody to update the site plan?
Well, that's what I would want to talk to the law department about. But yes, we would use that money to get a Mylar that would then be fileable on the land records.
Alexys, what happens to a bond with transfer of property?
So what I strongly advise when people transfer a property, if they have an open permit with a bond, is that when they set up a contract with the purchaser, that the contract include the transfer of the bond. So the new purchaser would, upon purchase of the property, submit a new replacement bond, and then the existing bond would be released to the previous owner. When someone buys a property with wetlands or wetland permit, they're buying everything, including the wetland permit and its obligations. And obviously, someone that doesn't own the property anymore, it becomes difficult for them to maintain the conditions that are being bonded if they don't own it. So usually that happens, not always. Some people prefer to,
So this is the original owner.
yes.
Yeah.
All right, anybody, this is interesting stuff. I don't know if we're getting anywhere with it, but we're learning something.
Fascinating.
All right, well, do we then need a motion to not release, well, we need a motion, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll move to not release the bond. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Matt, second. Can we get a vote? Everybody in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye, good. Okay, any no nays, no abstentions? Okay, so ball's back in your court, Alexis. Sorry.
That's all right. So
Alright.
I'll ask the law department about your options, and then I will get back to you at your next meeting or your February meeting.
Okay, I've got to get better at my asking for nays and abstentions. I shouldn't answer it before I ask it. All right, moving on with the agenda, approval of minutes. Who has reviewed them? Cheryl? No? Shoot.
I looked them over.
All right,
I wasn't present for the full meeting, but I'll make a motion to approve them if I can do that.
please. Second? I'll second it. Oh, Ed, we'll give it to Ed. Votes, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, passed unanimously. Thanks, Matt. Comments of staff. Senior staff, not you, Amelia.
No, I will send you out. I think I have sent you out some previous emails about the city's waterfront industrial zone study and some live maps with comments. They're going to have a public meeting on the 18th next week. So I'll send you a link to that if you're interested. That's again kind of the Norwalk Harbor area. Other than that, I don't think I have anything really exciting to report. Amelia, am I forgetting anything?
Okay, thank you. Comments of commissioners, anybody?
Just a question for Alexis. I don't know if you guys are, I'm assuming you're probably going through the budget process. I don't know where the open space kind of falls into that. Is that an annual request that you make, and can we expect a similar contribution?
So that's a good question. So yes, the capital budget process is beginning. I think it's beginning in earnest next week. Following week, very soon. And it starts with the review by the Planning and Zoning Commission. The I want to say a while ago, 14 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. The request for the capital budget was moved into the Recreation and Parks budget. And it has been there for a long time. So I don't actually make the request. We had requested that it get switched back to the conservation office, but the CFO has not made that switch, at least for this year. So yes, there is a request to fund the open space fund in the capital budget, and yes, it is the same amount, 50,000, that it has been in previous years.
Okay.
And you, as the Conservation Commission, if you want to direct staff to write a letter of support on your behalf and submit it to the Planning Commission and to the Board of Estimate, I can certainly do that if you direct me to do so.
Does Recreations and Park, do they ask for your input when they go through their budgeting process?
No, but we do have a brand new director who I have not quite met yet. So I think hopefully things will change in the future.
All right.
Well, I'm game for you writing a letter if you have the time and interest, but if you don't, no, you know, no skin off my nose.
Take a resolution from the commission telling me to do it. All about making priorities.
I mean, it does seem like something that you should have control over. So, I mean, it seems logical. I don't know everything behind it, but it seems logical to me that you would, that would be your process.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything related to like more conservation commission stuff versus inland wetland agency? No. Okay, well, if no one objects, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Oh, I was asking for a motion, but I can move myself. That's fine. Okay, I'll move to adjourn. Cheryl seconds. Can we get a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
I
All right. Well, hopefully we didn't push too hard. I was trying to hit 7 and we did pretty good. So hopefully nobody.
Nice job, Steve.
Oh yeah.
Extremely
Well,
quick.
Yeah.
it was
Well
easy,
done.
easy agenda. All right. Have a good week, everybody. Stay safe and healthy out there.
Yeah.
You too. Hopefully see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.